Let's head down to Coral Gables and talk with Stephen Wagner from Kane Sport, who is also on campus. We really appreciate you guys stepping up and doing this, even though you're already working. You're pulling double time. Stephen Wagner, Cantwell is on campus. What's the buzz like in Coral Gables with the five-star offensive tackle?
Yeah, this was a really great weekend for Jackson Cantwell. He saw everything that he really needed to see and really reinforced, why he committed to Miami. The belief in Mario Cristobal, the belief in Alex Mirabal, their abilities to develop him. Parents seemed like they had a very good time as well. He was able to meet his four-star quarterback, Darion Coleman, for the first time. It seems like things went really well there. He was able to connect with some of his fellow offensive line recruits, and in this case, a one offensive line commit. It seems like he is as locked in can be. We fully expect him to be a Hurricane come December.
So IMG offensive lineman Brett Colajay has been a priority. Do you think it helps having Jackson Cantwell on campus with a guy like Colajay?
I think it does a little bit because I think what Colajay, kind of looks for is kind of, an endorsement from some of these other, really top blue chip, like top tier offensive linemen. I think Cantwell, coming out and saying, hey, I believe in Mario Cristobal. I believe in Alex Mirabal. I think that's something that, Colajay does respect a little bit. We think the Hurricanes are in a good spot for Colajay coming off of the visit weekend. We know that Miami feels very optimistic about where things sit. I'm definitely optimistic about where things sit. Obviously, this is going to come down to Miami and Georgia, but right now, I think that I lean slightly toward Miami. I'm maybe 60-40 in favor of the Hurricanes. I've kind of gone back and forth on it because it seems like Miami and Georgia have kind of gone back and forth too. But
Yeah.
I know that Miami is much more confident about their chances with Colajay coming off this visit weekend than they were going into the weekend.
All right. That's what visits are for. That's what they do. They can shift the momentum of some of these recruitments. Now, let's talk about tight end Hezi Kent. He's out of Georgia. In this one, I kind of felt heading into the visit that Miami had the momentum. Hezi Kent, he told me he's going to commit with our channel. I believe it's in like a couple weeks or maybe it's early July. But Hezi Kent going to come off the board right here on the On3 Recruits channel. How are you feeling about Miami right now?
Man, I kind of have more questions than answers coming off of this visit weekend, if we're being honest. I might
Yeah.
actually be a little bit pessimistic about Miami's chances to get him on the first go around, just because, he does have, it feels like some people in his camp who, might be Florida advocates. Right now, I think
Wow.
I would actually be a little bit more confident in the Gators. However, I have been told several times it is a long way until December, and I would be stunned if Miami were to just throw in the towel after he commits on July 12th and just say, oh, well, that's it. Now, that being said, we still have about a month left, until he does commit,
Yeah.
and Miami can absolutely make up that ground. But right now, I actually lean a little bit toward the Gators for Kent.
Hey, that's great intel. Appreciate it. All right, let's talk one more prospect that he's going to be making a decision in July. July 20th, four-star wide receiver Braden Robinson is going to announce his decision. How are you feeling about Miami after this weekend?
Yeah, going into the weekend, we knew Miami and Notre Dame were kind of 1A and 1B. I think Arizona could potentially be a little bit of a sneaky team just because I do think he could have opportunities to see the field quicker. And, he might have less competition to see the field, quite frankly. But I'm still optimistic about Miami's chances, but I do feel like it's a little bit of a coin flip between him and Notre Dame, or between Miami and Notre Dame for him. Coming into the weekend, we really did feel like it was probably going to be one of those two schools. I still feel like it's probably going to be one of those two schools. He was kind of guarded whenever we talked to him, said, that basically that, he got a lot of information this week, but he still wants to get, more information about Notre Dame whenever he visits South Bend later in the month. I could really see it going either way. I think I lean a little bit toward the Irish, but Notre Dame is absolutely going to be right there. They really do value him and would absolutely love to have him in Coral Gables.
All right. Well, the Canes planted some seeds. We'll see if they bear fruit next month when these commitments come out. Steven Wagner from Kane Sport, appreciate you taking the time, even though you're on campus interviewing recruits, to talk to us today on the Inside Scoop.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh.